Now at 6:30, President Donald Trump orders a military strike against an airfield in Syria after a deadly chemical attack that killed dozens of people.
And I'm Mike Kirchhoff live at Miller Park. Huge series this weekend. The Brewers taking on the defending World Series champion Cubs. We'll talk to some Brewers fans about what they think about how Cubs fans will be this weekend.
The CBS 58 Morning News continues.
Good morning, everyone. Happy Friday to you. It is April 7th. I'm Jessica Tyne.
And I'm Whitney Martin. Our top story at 6:30. CBS News is reporting at least 7 people are dead after last night's airstrike in Syria.
And new details continue to come in this morning. CBS 58's Julie Parisi joins us live right now with the very latest. What have you found out, Julie?
Well, Jessica, Syria's military says at least 6 soldiers were killed in last night's airstrike and several more were hurt. The U.S. Pentagon releasing a statement saying they went to extraordinary measures to prevent any civilian deaths. Here's that video that just came in to our newsroom of last night's airstrike. A U.S. Navy warship in the Mediterranean Sea fired a total of 59 Tomahawk missiles aimed at that airbase in central Syria, believed to be the same airbase used to launch a chemical weapons attack earlier this week. House Speaker Paul Ryan is calling the missile strike appropriate. He says these tactical strikes make clear the Assad regime can no longer count on American inaction as it carries out atrocities against the Syrian people. He went on to say resolving the crisis in Syria is a complex task, but President Bashar al-Assad must be held accountable. Now, Republican lawmakers are overwhelmingly agreeing with this airstrike, but Democrats, including House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, are saying they wish President Trump had consulted with Congress first. Live in the newsroom, I'm Julie Parisi, CBS 58 News.
Thanks, Julie. Reactions pouring in after the U.S. airstrikes on Syria. Britain, Australia, Israel, and Saudi Arabia say they're backing the military move, but Iran strongly condemned it, while Russia called it an aggression and said that it would call for an emergency UN meeting. Moscow is now threatening to shut down all military cooperation with the U.S. and oil prices surge in response to the attack. According to Gas Buddy, prices rose by $1 per barrel to $52.70. This is after news spread of the nearly 50 missiles launched. And stay with CBS 58 for more on this developing stories. You can look for updates on air and online, CBS58.com. We will stay on this.
Early this morning, temperatures are on the chillier side. Most of you waking up to the low to middle 30s across southeastern Wisconsin, but plenty of sunshine out there. In fact, we're starting to see that sunrise right now on our Milwaukee Public Museum tower cam. Looks like a beautiful, beautiful start to the day here in the Milwaukee area, and that's just going to be kind of the precursor to what will be a beautiful weekend all across southeastern Wisconsin. The wind is out of the northwest, though, 10 miles per hour, makes it feel more like 28 degrees. Temperatures a little bit on the chillier side for some of you, down to 30 in Waukesha, 31 in Beaver Dam, 32 in West Bend, Fond du Lac, as well as Watertown. So definitely need the jacket early this morning. But as we go throughout your CBS 58 Ready Weather app hour by hour forecast, it continues to rise. Temperatures into the upper 40s. Plenty of sunshine all day long. Most of you will make it into the 50s. We'll show you the full weekend forecast coming up in a few minutes.
Thank you, Justin. An odd reversal in Ozaukee County. A teacher was charged for having a relationship with a student. Then, just hours later, those charges were dismissed. Paul Smith, a teacher at Ozaukee County High School, appeared in court yesterday, accused of having a sexual relationship with an 18-year-old woman after she graduated. But hours after bail was set, the district attorney dropped the charges and told CBS 58 it was an error in charging and, quote, I had to correct it right away. Smith's attorney says the damage is done and this isn't over.
Take this one piece at a time. We're not going to jump the gun, which unfortunately is exactly what happened in this case. And we'll examine our legal options in this case.
He says Smith is still on unpaid leave this morning. The district has not returned a request for comment.
Surveillance video shows a Kenosha cop beating up his estranged wife's boyfriend. It happened in the parking lot of the Kenosha Medical Center last year. Kendall West pleaded guilty to charges in connection to that fight and was ordered to pay a fine. Kenosha Alderman Kevin Mathewson tells us he thinks West got a slap on the wrist and should face harsher punishment.
He's the type of officer that not only should he not work for the city of Kenosha, but he should not work as a police officer anywhere in the country. It's very likely that he could be hired at another community, and that should be scary to everybody.
Now, we've been following this case. There was a hearing yesterday about his employment status with the police department. Kenosha's police chief recommended he be fired. West now has 10 days to respond. A hearing on his employment status will be held next month. Now to another developing story. Janesville schools are closed today as a search continues for a 32-year-old man wanted for stealing guns from a Janesville gun shop. Police say Joseph Jakubowski stole several high-end handguns and rifles, then later set his car on fire. Reports also indicate Jakubowski made threats to use the weapons against public officials and schools. The Janesville and Edgerton school districts declared a soft lockdown for the schools yesterday. The Della Vendarian School District did the same, also canceled after-school activities. FBI Milwaukee is joining in the search for him. A media briefing will be held at Rock County. That's at the airport at 9.
The final vote to nominate Judge Neil Gorsuch to the Supreme Court is expected today. Senate Democrats filibustered his confirmation on Thursday, leading Senate Republicans to single-handedly change the rules to require only a simple majority vote. Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer says this change weakens the standing of the Senate as a whole.
This weekend, something will happen at Miller Park that's never happened before.
That's right. The Cubs and all of their fans will travel here to Milwaukee as World Series champions. Our co-anchor Mike Kirchhoff is at Miller Park this morning to preview that Cubby invasion. Here they come, Mike.
Yes, good morning, Jessica and Whitney. Right here, as normal, it'll be the Brewers in their first base dugout, but right over there in the third base dugout, the Cubs will be there. And for the first time ever in the history of this rivalry, they'll be the defending World Series champions. We know that last fall, the Cubs won their first World Series since 1908. That was before the Brewers in Milwaukee, before the Braves in Milwaukee. Back then, it was the Boston Braves. Well, right now, the Brewers are a game and a half behind the Cubs. They were 30 and a half when the season ended last year. So I talked to some Brewers fans out tailgating during this past week, the opening week of games here in the Major League Baseball season. And I asked, do you think Cubs fans will be normal or worse than they were before?
I've met a lot of good Cubs fans coming up here. A lot of them do come up here for the right reason.
I just hope they have a good year, and when they come here, I think they're probably going to end up going back to Chicago with their tail between their legs, and it's going to be good for us.
Cub fans are always the same. They're always bad.
Well, some notes for this weekend's game. Tickets are still available for all three games, although Saturday and Sunday are expected to sell out. Tonight's game is going to be the first Major League Baseball game ever live streamed on Twitter, but it'll probably be blacked out here and in the Chicago area. So if you have any Brewers fans living out of town, let them know they can watch it for free on Twitter. Sunday, you can watch the game for free over the air over on Telemundo. We'll have that game. It'll be a Spanish language broadcast, but hey, if it's free, it's free. Tailgating starts just after 5 here at Miller Park. For now, at Miller Park, Mike Kirchhoff, CBS 58 News. Back to you, Jessica and Whitney.
It's going to be a good weekend here in Milwaukee. Thanks, Mike. The Packers announced 5 finalists for the team's ticket takeover contest. There's only one finalist from Wisconsin. You can vote once a day through April 28th. Each time you vote, you'll be entered to win a signed Packers jersey. And the winning photo, it will be printed on about 80,000 game tickets next season. The winner also gets 2 tickets to Packers games. Former Packers running back Eddie Lacy is headed to Seattle.
Before he moves across the country, he's having a garage sale. Yeah, we're talking about a garage sale. I'm still wondering if he'll have the little neon circle price tags he's putting on everything.
Or if you can say, hey, I want this for, $2 less.
Yeah.
Can you
bargain?
with
I don't really know.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, well, we'll wait to hear that. We're also waiting on that exact location. Should be announced sometime this morning, of course. We'll keep you updated. I know, Jessica, you've been checking his Twitter page, waiting for that announcement to come up.
I have it up actually right now, too, just to check again, and nothing just yet.
We should note, too, that this is all going to charity, and the rest will go to the Freedom House, whatever's left over. So kind of cool to see that.
Coming up this morning, the Dairyland will soon start selling a dairy product that people have been traveling over state lines to get. Details next.